Yahoo! This body food. I don't even know. I do not even know what is happening to me right now. Okay? I apologise. I also apologise if I look like an egg because I've got my hair like really back, and I'm either got two braids in, or my hair down, or some sort, or I don't know. I feel as if I've got to dangle my hair down just so you can see my hair. But yeah, it is currently for a role I am doing. I have a panto photo shoot today. I am playing a king. Okay? So I've got to have it back. So, speaking of acting, I thought I would sit and talk about it because I don't think I have actually just sat and talked about it. I'll just turn this down a little. No, it won't go down. Let me sit up. Let me adjust. There, that's better. In the middle. Okay. So, what? Sort yourself out, Janet. Sort yourself out, Boydie. So, acting. I honestly don't know what's going to come out of this video. I don't know what's going to come out of my mouth. I don't know what I'm going to say. As you know, most of my videos are not scripted and not really well planned out. Unless it is top 10s, then I write it down so I don't forget. But apart from that, I just go with the flow. I just say what I want. I just say what I want. I say what I want. I do what I want. Because I am an independent woman. I'm a bit cold. I might put on a jacket. I'm going to put on a jacket. Hey, you're probably thinking, Shannon, you've been away from YouTube for about 2 months. Almost. And you decided to go put on a jacket. Well, yes. Because, like I said, I do what I want, I say what I want, and if I want to put on a jacket, not even like start of the video, well then I will, right? Deal with it. Okay. So, acting. I don't even know if I've sat down and talked about this before. Like, I've talked about, obviously vlogged when I've been in shows. And, like, I've talked about what roles I would like to do, what shows I would like to be in, whether they are amateur or local professional. West End, darling. That's better. There we are. But I haven't actually talked about my journey or what it's like to be an actor, the things that you've got to do. And I think I was inspired by two things. One of my friends that I do scare acting with mentioned the fact of like how different actors think and stuff like that. So I was thinking, I'll talk about that. I'll talk about how I think as an actor. And then I've watched, I idolise this woman. I look up to her. She is an inspiration. Carrie Hope Fletcher released a video on your assumptions of theatre. So I thought, oh, you know what? I'm going to sit down and I'm going to talk about my experience within the theatre realm. I wouldn't say that I am a professional as such. I wouldn't say that I am famous. I am a famous actor. I'm not, right? I just do local stuff. It'd be fantastic if my career as an actor could take off, or music could take off, you know, I'd love that. West End directors, I'm your gal, right? If you want something comedic, I can do serious. Just hit us up, right? But yeah, I think it is a hard industry to be in. I'm not gonna lie. Industry, Shannon. Guess it is an industry. But I've only done like 4 paid jobs. I do scare acting on an October. I've done that 2 years now and I get paid for that. And I got paid for Cinderella. It wasn't like big pay, but it was just like a percentage of tickets sales, which isn't bad, because like that was my first. Was it my first? Yeah, no, second, but it was like my first paid job as like a theatre actor, and I got paid to do a variety show. But that's it. It's not as if like I get paid all the time to do this. Sometimes, if you've seen us in the show, most of the time I don't get paid. But I'm not complaining, because I think, well, not think, just personally, I love acting, I love singing, I love dancing, I love the whole performing. So I'm not really bothered if I get paid or not, because I've got a steady job working in school. So it's not as if I've got to rely on pay as an actor, because if I did do that, then I'd struggle. I would struggle. It is such a hard job to be in. I mean, like, I think most local jobs would pay, like, I don't know, most like jobs, like if it's like a day or two, it's like £30. But yeah, so it's a hard industry to be in. Plus, like auditions and stuff like that, and it's hard, especially up north. It's hard to get like paid work. Like, I feel as if you want to be an actor, you probably want to be more central, more city based, where they do a lot of productions. I'm not saying that there isn't any productions or any acting work in the northeast. It's just, you just got to know where to look. Plus, being an actor, if you want to be professional, you have to have an agent, and then you've got to audition for an agent, and there's just a lot that goes into it. There's more that go into it than I think people realise. I think people realise that. I think people just think you audition. If you get the part, you get the part. If you don't, you don't. Right? I think that's it. I think that's what people assume, but there's a lot more that goes into it, and it's hard. It's a hard industry. Sorry, I'll keep clicking that. It's a hard industry to be in, and I think it's definitely hard for like mental, because even though it's it's kind of like, I don't know. It's like it's good, because for me, when I act, when I sing, when I dance, it's such a huge relief. You know, it's like a huge stress relief. I can get my emotions out. I can I'm in my happy place. I'm in my element when I'm acting, when I'm performing. But something that I struggle with is the whole audition side of things. Like, it's weird, because when I audition, I'm not as bad now, but when I first came into this injury, especially someone that is young, I mean, I know that people do start acting way younger than what I did. I started at 21, and but I remember the first audition I did, and I had my heart set on this role, and I thought I'd went in, I thought I did a good job, and I didn't get the role, and I was heartbroken. I was devastated. I had a full-on breakdown because I didn't get this role, and I put so much effort into learning the song and stuff like that. But advice to you, if you are acting, that if you don't get the part, I mean, sometimes you probably won't hear anything back, but if you don't get the part, or you don't get the part you want, you can always ask the director or the audition panel why I didn't get it, and have you got any feedback on how I can improve for the next role I go for, or if I decide to go for this role again but with another company, like, can you give me feedback? And don't take it. I think I've mentioned this before, but if you don't get that part, if you don't get that role, don't take it as like a failure. I've done a bad job. Like, I must have done rubbish. Don't take it as that, because when I did my first audition, I asked the director, and the director was just like, "You were great." It was just that somebody else who auditioned was more fitted for the role than our perspective, like our views. It doesn't necessarily mean that you've done a bad job. You sang lovely. The only difference is that it sounded as if you were singing to a different tune, and it was probably because when I went for the audition, they played it on piano, but I was learning it to a guitar. That's why it's like two different. It's weird because a chord, a key on a guitar sounds totally different than a piano. Like, for some reason, for piano, I automatically sing higher, and I don't know if that's a lot, if that was a thing, but I grew from that. I learned from that. I thought, you know what, and then I'd went and I auditioned again for the same company but for a different role. What was it? I think it was like Panto or something. I remember the worst audition I did, right? The worst. I did a horrid job. I did a horrid job. And it was probably one, for some reason, I had really bad pitch. I could not, like, hear a tune. I must have been a bit tone deaf. I could not. I could not. But I had such huge, like, stage fright. It was mad. It was it was crippling, right? This is how bad it was, right? And for my first audition, I was really impressed that I did it. I sang, but I almost threw up. I almost stopped breathing when I came out. It sounds dramatic, but I did almost faint, right? So the fact that I was brave enough to go and do that, but at the time I didn't say that. I didn't say that. I was just like, you went in and you didn't get the role because you sucked. You were rubbish. You sang off key. You were rubbish. In my head, that's what I thought. But as I got older and the more experience I have auditioning, I realised that the director literally said to you, Shannon, somebody else was better for the role at that time. It's not necessarily that I didn't do a good job, but I didn't say it as you were brave because you went and you auditioned even though you knew you had stage fright, and you went and you give it your all, and you practice and you did a good job. But in my head, I didn't say that. So, the worst audition I did is I still had stage fright, and I think the fact that I auditioned and didn't get the part, it didn't help with my stage fright. But I was still brave enough to go and continue auditioning. So I'm proud of my younger self for doing that. I'm really proud of me doing that because, like, it's huge. It's like for someone to go and just sing and perform in front of someone, never mind like a full audience, but 4 people, it's still it's scary stuff. So I'd auditioned for and I'm not afraid to talk about it. So I'd auditioned for Wind in the Willows, and I auditioned for the part of Mole and Rat, and the people that did it, it was with Jeremy Theatre Company, and Francis and Joe did Rat and Morley, and they smashed it. They're so amazing, and like it's just like crazy to think that local actors are that good. You know, like it's crazy to think, and it like I remember like we were not necessarily forced, but advised to watch the production because it was like a newer show. No one had really heard of it at the time, and it was like the Northeast premiere, and they nailed it like so good that you would think that it was just the West End production. They were so good, and I just thought, yes, yes, I auditioned for your roles, and yes, I would have loved it. Maybe it's a little bit of jealousy, but guys, you smashed it. Like they were brilliant. They were fantastic, right? So there's no there was no hard feelings. I'm not that kind of person. But I auditioned for it, and I was singing Messing About on a Boat on a River, right? And I rehearsed, and I sounded pretty good, right? I'm not the best as a singer, right? I'll hold my hands up. But I remember my mum was like, it sounds so good, Charlotte. I was like, I know, like I could get this part. I went into the audition. I, the piano started playing. I was immediately off key. I was off key, and I was just like, oh. And then it was pitchy as heck, right? I remember trying to hit a higher note, and I just couldn't. So halfway through the song, I just go. No, Boydie! I sigh, and I just roll my eyes halfway through. So I knew there and then I didn't get it. I didn't get the role. But I still got a role. I still played Mrs. Robert, Mrs. Bunny. So honestly though, I just knew there and then I did, like, I'm honest, right? And I know I've just said the first audition, you didn't do bad, you didn't do that audition. That was bad. I was rubbish. And I came home and I was like, I didn't get the part. They haven't like give out the rules. I just know I haven't. So when I found out, oh, I've got a role, I was like, what? But yeah, it was an eventful time. So yeah, but it's all experience, you know what I mean? Like, I thought, you know what, you've got bad pitch on it. It's time to get a vocal coach. I got a vocal coach, and that helped immensely. So, um, and the more vocal training I do, the more vocal warm ups, the more practice I get, my voice just get better. And like you can see the difference. I haven't uploaded a cover in ages. I don't know if I'm gonna, but you can see the difference when there's like, it's not like a cover, but I think I do, like, it was for before Cinderella. There was like a day something. There was like a vlog, and I sing "A Dream Is Your Wish, Your Heart Mate," and I remember listening. I was like, wow, you can sing, Shannon. So compared to my vlogs, and I was just like, you know what? It's just the experience of having like the full coach and doing warm ups, practice, 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 practice makes perfect. It's true what they say, and just having the confidence. I think that was my main thing. It was not lacking the confidence. Like, I couldn't belt, I couldn't sing. I was just like, sing, like singing really soft. But now I'm not afraid to belt if I have to. And yeah, and I think the step, I still get a little bit nervous auditioning. I'm not gonna lie. I think people get nervous about things that they are passionate about and things that they love. So I think it wouldn't be normal if I. Sorry, I'm adjusting my legs. I'm adjusting. I don't think it would be normal if I didn't get scared, but I knew the moment where my stage fright went. It it just went. I still get nervous, but I don't have stage fright anymore. So I auditioned for Cinderella. I ended up getting the part of Fairy Godmother. I cried because that was the first ever principal role that I ever got. And it was in the middle of COVID, so then the show got pushed back. So instead we did like a social distance performance of the variety show, which I mentioned, and I sang a cover of Heaven on Their Mind from Jesus Christ Superstar. And you're probably thinking, Shannon, that song's for a man. For some reason, I don't know why, but I thought I was soprano. But apparently I can do alto as well. I don't know what that is. Maybe I'm just gifted on it. So I can sing really low, but I can sing not really, really high. I can't whistle notes, no, but I can sing high-ish. So I don't know. I don't know. So, anyways, and I remember my first performance. I just stood there and I sang, and I sang it well, and I sang in front of everyone, and it was, and I was just like, oh. And then I remember they were saying, I remember the feedback, like, you were really good. We were quite surprised that you were able to sing. So I was just like, oh, right, okay. So then they were just like, right, you're gonna have to act. Like, this is a show from a West End blockbuster, not blockbuster. What? This is like a huge show. You're gonna have to act. So I was just like, all right. So then the second performance, because we did 2 nights, the second performance, I had more people in the audience, and I was just like, right, Shannon, just act, just act. So I act, right, and I give all there was fog. I was feeling it, and I was just like, yes, and I sang it, and oh, it was so good, right? In my head, I was thinking, my God, and you know what, right? And people who act, people who sing, maybe you can relate to this. Someone came up to me, someone I didn't know. It was just an audience member because we were singing. We people in the who did the performance in the variety show just sat because it was table seating. They just sat amongst the crowd, and we were like doing little rules like selling raffle tickets and stuff like that. Someone came up to me and said, "You know what? Like, I'm such a fan of this show, of Jesus Christ Superstar." And he says, "I never thought a woman could sing it, but you've sang it and you smashed it and you did a really, really good job." And he was just like, that performance was like amazing. And he was just like, I can't believe it. So then I was just like, what? I was like, what? And I was like, thank you so much. I was just like, I really, really appreciate that. And I was just like, it means more than you actually know. And it took one person to say, you did a good job. It took one person. And that was it. I was just like, you can sing, you can perform, you are capable of doing a great performance because you've been told you've been doing a great performance. And then I thought, you know what? I I can act and I can perform and I must be good at what I do because I got the role of fairy godmother. So this all started like sparking in my brain, and I was just like, I'm a goddamn rock star, man. So that was it. And then I remember the first performance of Fairy Godmother, I was just like, I cannot do this, I cannot do it. And then I was just like, you can do it. So then I came on, and I remember the first performance, and came on stage because I opened the show, and I just remember like the music playing before the show had started, and I was just like in the wings, and I was like, I'm having a panic attack. This is the biggest role I've done so far. This is my first principal role. I don't want to fail. I don't want to fail. Did it, sang the song, came off stage, and I was like, whoa, I've just done that. That was it. Gone. Stage fright. Vanished. Just do it, kids. If you've got stage fright, you can just do it. Just do it. You are capable of fantastic things. You are capable of amazing things. You can do anything you want if you put your mind to it. There's nothing. The only person that's getting in your way is you. Also, great advice I had from someone you might know, someone who I look up to. I almost fainted to the floor. I don't know how I got the confidence to ask her, but I did. I went to RuPaul's Drag Race Drag Con a good few years ago, and I met Michelle Visage, right? And she did the book signing. I met her, took photos, and I'd asked her, and I was just like, look, like, you book diva, and you performed on the West End. You used to be in a girl group. You used to performing. Like, how do I become a diva? How do I get rid of the fear of performing? And she says, so she just said to me, and I remember it from this day, and it will stay with me for the rest of my life, right? She said, look, there's going to be times that you go on stage and you mess up a line, and you might mess up a lyric in a song, or there might be people who might judge you, and then she says, but who cares? Who cares? She says, make a mistake. Who cares? She says, let them judge. Who cares? She says, who cares? Like, she says, the only person's opinion that matters and the only person that's getting in your way is you. So she says, make mistakes. Let people judge. Who cares? And I was just like, mind blown. I was just like, legend. This is why I love you. And then she gave us a hug, and she was just like, good luck. And then she went to me. She said to me, she says, I believe in you. And she says, and she says, I look forward to seeing you one day on stage. So it must be, if a queen can say that, it must be that it's going to happen, right? So, yeah, it's great advice, and I believe it. I believe it. I think most of this video has been about my own previous auditions and stuff like that. Let's end the video on a high. Best performance of mine. I think even though Fairy Godmother was a bigger role, I recently done Beauty and the Beast, and I played Candle, and I sung Be Our Guest, and we did 2 shows. I would love to have done more, but we did 2 shows, and the first show, I wouldn't have said it was a disaster, but in my personal, I thought, oh my goodness, this isn't going well for me, right? This isn't going well for me. Like, oh no. Second day, everyone phenomenal. Everyone smashed it. I went out, I sung Be Our Guest, and I don't know why, but I feel as if you are working on stage with someone and you were like a part of a double act, which me and Leon were, right? And we had quite a good relationship, friendship wise, right? We had a good friendship. We had a good bond, a good chemistry off stage and on stage, right? Friends, right? But I think once you worked with someone, you know how they're going to do their character, you know how they're going to do their role, so you can interact and you know how to react because you know how they're going to react. So, anyways, right, and we'd never done this before. Right? And we did it, and Belle and Beast are in the middle of us four as we go for like a four-piece harmony. It was beautiful. It was amazing, right? Right? You have to be there to witness it, right? So, anyways, at the end of the song, with the candles, we both looked. I looked at Jasmine. Jasmine? That's my baby cousin. Maybe she shouldn't have liked that. Imogen. I looked at Imogen, who was playing Belle. Lovely human being, beautiful person. Love you, if you happen to watch this. And Matthew, who was playing the Beast. I looked at Belle like this, like, and smiles and stuff like that. Leon did it as the Beast, right? And then we looked at each other like that. And we looked at the audience. Oh my goodness. I swear. I'm not saying it was for me. I'm not saying it was for the people that were singing. It could have been for everyone because it was a big, huge dance number as well. People were on their feet applauding. We had a standing ovation. And I was looking at Belle, then I looked up at the audience, and I just like skipped off the stage. And as soon as I could skip off the stage, I bawled. I was just like, I never had that before. Like, I've never had that reaction after a performance before. And that was like the highlight. And I know, like, I've done all these amazing shows, but I don't know how to explain it. Like, I feel it's the only explanation for like a standing ovation or a good reception when you come out on stage after doing your bows and you get the good bow and you get a good cheer. The buzz it gives you, the adrenaline it gives you. How would I compare it? I think it compares to a footballer scoring a goal, right? Where you're like, yes, I've scored a goal, or a football team winning a cup. And I know people will be like, what? No. That's a feeling you get, right? It's just like this buzz of a feeling, right? So there was a video, there was a question in Carrie Fletcher's role, and I don't want to come off as big-headed or like full of myself now that I've been given a couple of principal roles, and well, now I'm on to my third principal role, and there was a question saying once you got a principal part, you would no longer audition for ensemble. And as much as the last vlog I did is not just ensemble, right? And I'd went for years saying, oh, I'm just ensemble. But Carrie Fletcher makes a point, right? You are ensemble, you are a swing, right? For example. You do loads. And ensemble do loads than what people expect. And you are such a crucial part of a production. But I think in my head that I don't know if I would personally go for an ensemble role anymore. And it's not because like it's got nothing to do with the fact that I'm better. I'm too good for ensemble. It's not that. It's just because they're two different things. They are two different things. And I think um I think I'm more suited to being a character than been all these amazing things that happen backstage. I just think that's me. And yeah, I just don't know if I would. It depends, actually. It depends on the show. It depends on the show. But ideally, I'd think I would just prefer a principal role. But I'm not saying, I know I say I wouldn't, but maybe I would. It just depends, right? It just depends. But now that I've tasted it, I feel like my point being is it's hard to speak and say these things without being like come across as too cocky or too confident or smug or too big headed, because that's not what I want to come across as, because I don't think I am. But I think it's hard once you've got the taste of the principal role that's all you want to do. But I feel, and this is what we talked about with my friend from who I've done Scare Acting with. We said, well, they said that like I'm an actor, but all I want is like I want to steal the attention. I want to be like the main part, and I want to do this. And they were like, does that make us a bad person? No, it doesn't. It just means that you were passionate about this and you love this. And I think, personally, I think if if you do not want to thrive for the best for yourself and want the main part and want that attention from the audience and want to steal the spotlight, it's uh, like it just means that you're not necessarily believing in yourself. And I feel like once you believe in yourself, then you're capable of like amazing things. And if you want to just go for a principal role, you want to go for a principal role. And I've known people that have been offered a principal role and said, no, I don't want it. And it didn't make me think anything less of that person. I was just like, all right then, yeah. If they want a principal role, they know their worth, they know their talent, then good for them, you know? So, yeah, like I said, if you auditioned and you were given an ensemble role and you don't want that ensemble role, and it's not because it's just ensemble, because like you still have a lot of fun and ensembles do an amazing job, but you do what you think's best for you. You know, you go with, like a friend said recently, you've got to go with your gut. If that's what you think you would be best at, if that's what you think you should do, you do it. Don't don't worry about what other people think. It's like it's took time in my life to like start putting me first, and it's not necessarily that I love me, I'm vain, I'm big headed. It's just because you've got to think about you and what's best for you, and not necessarily be like, oh, I don't want to turn down the ensemble role because I wanted the principal role, and I don't want to turn it down in case someone thinks, oh, who does she think she is? She's a diva. No, like you've turned down that role. It mightn't necessarily be an ensemble role. They might offer you the role that it's still a principal role, but you don't want it. So you'd be like, no, I don't want to do that. I appreciate you giving us that role, and I appreciate you giving us the chance to audition, but I don't think that role's for me. And I've done that before. I'd auditioned for, well, not auditioned, but I was offered an audition for 9 to 5, and that is a great show. Dolly Parton, love her, and I can sing some country songs, but I was doing it in the roles that they wanted us to audition for. Um, I was just like, I'm sorry, and I appreciate you giving us the time. That I'm glad, because there's a process. You've got to apply for auditions, and then if they like what they say, they'll ask you for a face-to-face audition. And I was just like, I'm really sorry if I wasted your time. Like, I really appreciate you, like, thinking that I might be good for this role and auditioning and stuff like that. but it's the songs are sure it's just not suited to me, like my voice and the way I thing. But it's amazing show, and I wish she's the best. But I've turned down it. I've turned down Rose. I've turned me. So yeah, yeah. Don't be afraid. Like, do what you think's best for you. Don't be afraid of what other people think. Go with your gut. That is my message. Okay, and that's all I'm going to say with this video because it's been going on for almost an hour. So don't be dumb, click that from Be Gems and share with your friends, and I shall see you next time. Bye bye.